Come on, bud. Alright guys, today we're going to take these Harbor Freight foam anti-fatigue mats. We're going to turn it into this. Let's get started. Alright, so these come with 6 sets of 4 mats, so 24 mats, and they're each 24 or 25 by 25 actually, I believe, because these things have basically the puzzle edge where you can pop them together and they can create one big mat. So I don't know, I think we're going to cut this edge off. We're probably going to cut these in half and see how big of a target we can make out of these 2 boxes. I paid $60 a piece for each of the boxes, so $120. And at the end of this video, we'll compare what we make with these 2 boxes to what you can buy for foam targets online and why this one might be better or worse or whatever. All right, so I'm gonna try cutting these with my table saw. Like I said, these have the puzzle side edge. I want a smooth edge, and the nice thing is, yeah, so you got 2 smooth edges and they're both lined up, and then you got the puzzle edge on 2 sides. And I think I'm gonna try, and this may or may not work, but I'm gonna try having the puzzle edge up against the fence, and then I got my blade set so that it's higher than the foam mats here. I'm also gonna keep them in the plastic just to keep everything kind of squared up and uniform. I don't know how that's gonna work. We're gonna find out here together, so let's get started. That's the problem we're going to have. You're really pinching this small piece against the fence. You would never want to do that with a piece of wood, but given it's just foam, it's not going to hurt you if it does kick back. You really want to make sure your hands are away from the blade though. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing it like this. I recommend using a utility blade and a straight edge, but all right, once I get one edge, or 2 edges, 2 of the puzzle edges cut on each side, and you can see these have the little knockouts, so you can make these fit together no matter how your area is set up, I guess. But I set the fence now to 12 inches to the center of the blade, and that'll give me a 12-inch section here, a 12-inch section here. So we're really going to cut each of these in half so we can make this target twice as tall. Alright, I didn't film all of it, but I drilled a hole big enough for 3/8-inch threaded rod and 4 2x4s. I got another setup right there, so I'm gonna have one front. All right, so depending on how wide your target is, you might not be using the same foam as mine. Again, mine's 24 inches. So to start, I cut 4 2x4s. These are 28.5, so 4.5 inches longer, but anything longer than 4 inches longer than your target or wider than your target is going to be fine. So if you had a 16-inch target and you made yours 20 inches, you're going to be, that's really all you need. Then I took and I used a drill. This is like 1/2 inch drill bit. and this is 3/8 inch threaded rod. So 1/2 inch, or the 3/8 threaded rod fits right through the end here. So I marked about an inch, 1.5 inches in from the end of each of these 2x and drilled through the long way. Did that on all 4 pieces. So 8 holes total, 1 at each end of the 4 2x. Then I took my threaded rod. My target is approximately 48 inches, but a little bit less now. So I compressed it almost 4 inches, as you can see, with my threaded rod. So you want your, I ended up cutting these off a little bit, but you need your threaded rod to cover your 3.5 inches for the lower 2x4, your 3.5 inches for the upper 2x4, the total height of your target, which was 48. So now we're at 48 plus 7 inches, 55 inches. Then you probably want another 5 or 6 inches more than that. So whatever, say 60 inches for a 48 inch target is what you want your threaded rod to be. So you'd have 4 5-foot pieces to start off with. And really, all I did was I had this foam laying on the concrete floor. I put a nut and a washer on the end, the very end of each of the 4 threaded rods, and just kind of threaded them through, got them to where they were kind of tight, and then I tipped this thing up and just tightened everything down. The only other thing I did was I just cut a couple pieces of treated 2x6 and cut those for some support so that this thing is not tipping over in the wind. It's actually really solid. So very easy build. Again, let's talk price. I have $120 into the foam. Each of these boxes was $60. And threaded rod, I did look it up. I've had this, I got this, guys were throwing this out on a job and I got a hold of it for free. If you buy it from like McMaster, it is kind of costly, but I checked Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and people buy more of this than they need all the time, and then they never ever used again. So I saw a bunch of 3/8 threaded rod on there for, you could have picked all 4 of these pieces up for less than $30. And that was like 3 or 4 different ads I found just in a quick 10-minute search. So I don't live in a very industrial area, I guess you would call it. But if you did, if you lived closer to a city, you're definitely gonna be able to find it. You live way out in the middle of nowhere, you may have to scrounge around. But if you call some of your local like fab shop or your mechanical like HVAC shops, plumbing outfits are going to use this quite often, and they oftentimes have scrap at the end of these jobs that the bigger companies just toss. They don't save stuff like this that they usually buy in an 8-foot length, and then they cut whatever 3 or 4 feet off. They usually aren't going to save the rest. So you can find this stuff for cheap, if not free. But yeah, overall target dimensions, let's talk about that. 12 inches deep, 44 inches tall after it's been compressed, and 24 inches wide. Quite a big target. Now let's go shoot it, make sure it actually works right, and then we'll compare it to some of the other very similar targets, foam targets that you can buy online, as far as price and dimensions, because that's obviously what you guys really want to know. Otherwise, it might make sense to just buy one. So we're going to do a comparison and make that determination here in a few. All right, we went over how to build it. Now let's take this thing for a burn. All right, so just for all you inquiring minds, and honestly, I haven't talked about this bow, so I might as well just talk about it anyway. But this is an Alpha X by Hoyt, Alpha X 33, which means it's 33 axle to axle. I wanted the longer bow. They make the 30-inch too, I believe. I wanted the longer one because I've never shot a bow this long. They do make longer ones, I think like 35. But I wanted the longer bow than I've normally shot because I want something a little bit more forgiving for longer shots out west. Me and my buddy have an Alaska trip planned. We're gonna hunt caribou in Alaska, and I also go out west quite often to hunt mule deer and occasionally elk as well. So a lot of those shots are longer out there than they are here in upstate New York, and just something I wanted to give a shot. I've still got my old bow, so I can use that around here if I need to or want to, but I really wanted to have this in my arsenal. These are pretty small diameter arrows. These are the Ultra Arrows Centrum Premier. I think it's a 400, the way it's set up, it's a 480 grain arrow, maybe 475 grain arrow. Heavier front of center with the inserts. They come with the inserts. I'm drawing, I think, around probably 27.5 to 28 inches. I got a short draw, probably 27.5, I don't know. But it's 74 pounds right now the way it's set up. It's cranked all the way down, and we put it on the scale at the bow shop. It was 74 pounds. It's a 70-pound limb bow, but the Hoyts run a little bit hot, so it's actually drawing 74. So you know, it's gonna pack a punch, so we'll see how much penetration we get on this target. Well, I was not expecting it to be dead on. I figured I'd be high or low. Let's see. Probably got, oh, I'd say that's probably 7 to 8 inches of penetration. So really not bad at all. You can see it hit right on one of the, I'm gonna put you guys here. I'm gonna go back a little further, but I'm gonna put you guys right here. Definitely got to do a little dialing of the sight, I'm sure, just because arrows are different. Poundage, draw, all that's different on this bow than my last one. And I used the same sight from that and haven't changed the pin settings. This orange paint off, good as new. I definitely need to shoot more to get used to the 74 pounds though, because I haven't shot in, well, since like November. So it's been a good 6 months, I would say. Oh. Definitely just need to get used to the bow, and but we'll get her dialed. Anyway, cool little target from Harbor Freight, and now we'll go, I'll show you guys some of the equivalent options and what they would cost you if you didn't build your own. So stick around for another couple minutes.
So this double dog archery target by Bulldog Archery, this looked like a really nice target, but it was $212, and it is the same dimensions as ours. It's a little bit shorter, but it's 12 inches deep, 24 inches wide, and only 36 inches tall, where ours is 44. So and then you probably got to pay shipping on top of that $212, I would think. This doghouse target by Bulldog Targets looked pretty nice. It was $130, so about the same price as what we have into mine, but much smaller, 24 inches wide, so same width, 24 inches tall, so 20 inches shorter than ours, and 10 inches deep, so 2 inches less deep than ours. This is from Power Stop Archery Targets. Look at the price on this one, $262, and it's really not that big, 24 by 24 by 14, so a little deeper than ours, but the same width and much shorter. So that was kind of surprising to me. This one was $144. It was a 24 by 25 inch target off Sportsman's Guide. But again, it's about half the size of the one we built for $130. So really, it seems like you're almost paying double when you figure out the square footage of the targets you're building. You're almost doing them for half the price of what you would pay online. So what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Would you build one? Would you buy one? There's no right or wrong answer. Some people have more time to spend on stuff like this than others. Some people just like building their own stuff. Some people just like the convenience of having it delivered and dropped off at their door. I get all of that. I would say the biggest advantage ours has, besides the price, is if you shoot out one area of this, you can loosen those threaded rods and you can replace, just small pieces of foam. So you're not buying a whole new target when you shoot this thing up. So this should last for quite a few years, and I look forward to shooting it. So probably going to see it in some more videos. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.